Welcome to our Predictive AI World monthly podcast series focused on the rise of artificial intelligence and its impact on businesses. We now live in the age of distraction where data volume and growth is unprecedented. And to cope, AI has become the new fuel to our ever changing digital intelligent world. My name is Malay Upadhyay, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Strategic Business Development at SalesChoice. And I am your host for this series. In this series, we will interview founders, C level executives, and thought leaders to discuss the rise of artificial intelligence, machine learning, predictive analytics, Internet of Things. We will explore in an informative interview style how these new AI digital technologies are impacting businesses globally. My partner, Dr. Cindy Gordon, CEO SalesChoice, an AI and data sciences leader in the CRM market, will be talking to us today on defining AI and introducing some key concepts. As good a start as any. So, our topic for today: what is AI? And what does this mean to everyone? Cindy, your thoughts?
Thanks, Malay, and thank you for our viewers and listeners. It's always great to have you with us. First, Malay, you're absolutely right. The language can be very confusing, and honestly, the vendors, quite frankly, add another layer of complexity. And of course, the consultants are always constantly inventing new language that often you need a PhD to figure out. I want to put in context that I've had a lot of operational experience and spent most of my formative years at Xerox running a sales organization. So I always come at things from a business point of view, a process, and understanding profit and loss perspectives and where growth adds value or not. Then, after I was a partner at Accenture before I became a BC, and obviously now partnering with you and building out our great AI software company, I've been immersed in bringing new business models and emerging technologies to the market, primarily for large enterprises and B2B market spaces. And having been a leader in so many emerging innovations and going through the maturity life cycle phases, I've learned some things that never change, and also some things really do change. So I really want to make this as fact-based and as valuable to people listening in to really embrace AI and not worry about another transformation agenda. Everyone brings new thoughts, new perspectives, new needs for policies and regulatory frameworks. The first point is a C-level or any leader, if you think back in time, what it was like when we were going through the debates of e-commerce when they came onto the scene, everyone was trying to appreciate the impact to online versus in-store. Would retail business models disappear, die? The reality is they're just another alternative delivery channel. We can solve different things. Technology allows us to shape new things and work in new ways. And then when you look at what happened with mobile, came on the scene literally, maybe in a rage about 15, 12 years ago. And now we look at the staggering market. The smartphone users worldwide for 2016 alone is well over 2.1 billion devices, mobile phones in the market, planning to surpass 5 billion by 2019. We are truly in the fully connected world. I did a little bit of digging this morning, Malay, and looked at the global app revenue, and I was actually quite shocked. We are on track right now in 2017 to be over 77 billion market, but just in 2014 that was a 35 billion dollar market, and we're rapidly heading in the next 3 years to be over 100 billion apps, reinforcing that chips are connecting everything everywhere into sort of this ubiquitous world that we live in. The reason I use these contexts is we're now entering a new hypergrowth phase in digital convergence, which is unprecedented and unlike any other transformation before us. We thought the internet was big. We thought e-commerce was big. We thought mobile was big. However, AI, the sea change, is the giant blue ocean that's going to actually encapsulate everything. I look at this, Malay, as the new skin. It's literally going to enhance, change our world. When you think about it, every single chip, as they come into the market, will have an AI enablement. That we are just underway. It's almost like the buggies when we had no railroads. This new highway, I look at as like the new oxygen. It's literally like a virus dynamic, spreading into every pore of our world and our bodies as man and machine will continue to merge. So it's with this vision that I break into clear sound bites, the definitions, and a perspective that a C-level leader must hold in their mind and in their heart and embrace and move forward for your companies, for your children, and quite frankly, to stay in the game.
Well, that is great. I'm still stuck on the market growth numbers that you gave me, and to be honest, that's the whole point. It's an equal measure, just as it can be just as scary or it can be just as exciting. I personally believe these are very exciting times indeed, and thanks for that, Cindy. I cannot agree with you more. AI in our shoes, our fridge, our mobile devices, our business processes, our food, and increasingly, now that you mention it, our bodies. There is no industry, it seems, that does not need a major AI strategy, and AI will no doubt create new industries as the clash of emergence over time changes our world. The fully connected and smarter planet is shaping up from what it seems, but still lots of decisions to guide us forward, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Malay. That's why I was thinking very hard about what metaphor to use. And I've talked about AI as the new fuel. Then I stopped back and I thought, no, 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 no. It's the new oxygen that encapsulates everything that we know of as a human species. So let me get crisp and clear because we sort of started off and saying what is AI, and let's define it. First, AI is not a new science. It goes back into the some would say 1950s, but you can also find threads actually earlier than the well-renowned English mathematicians Alan Turing, who published that famous paper entitled "Computing, Machinery, and Intelligence," which opened the doors to the field that would be called AI. However, the term artificial intelligence itself was actually coined by John McCarthy, who, quite frankly, most people don't even know of, but just a little factoid that you know me. So, this is how I looked at AI. AI is an area of computer science that emphasizes the creation of intelligent machines that work and react and mimic human behavior. The whole objective of AI is to analyze and then predict an outcome, project a solution, surface a thought that can actually advance human capabilities. The most important point is AI is useless unless it has large data sets and accurate data sets to actually derive accurate observation. So different types of AIs are used to solve different business challenges. So let's not forget the beast is what it's fed. The most important question I like to ask in considering to use AI, and I say this all the time, and particularly to my technology friends, CIOs, CEOs, is what are you trying to solve? What is the business problem you're trying to solve? Is it worth solving? Who cares? And if you do want to solve it, where is the data? Where are the sources, either inside the organizations or outside? And then step back and then look at the approaches and the methods. Don't be technology led, be business value led.
True.
So, for example, in a call center, you have call history, which can include customer needs, reasons for the call, severity of the call, the product or solution set that the call is associated with, the teams that resolve the call, the duration to solve the problem, voice recording. All those little bites or breadcrumbs with thousands of interactions have patterns. Immersing yourself to understand those patterns, AI can be a very natural extension and overlay AI into, unstructured databases that can analyze those patterns to determine, are they giving you strong signals or are they weak signals? How quickly are those signals growing over time? One of the reasons I love AI, honestly, because I did my doctorate in innovation, is on outlier behavior that's on the innovation edge. And I thrive on innovation because I think at the end of the day, if a CEO doesn't really understand what innovation is, they should no longer be a CEO. Another example of AI is sales data, like we do, Malay, at our company. We predict sales forecasts and prioritize those opportunities, mainly for mid to large enterprises, because we've kind of learned small businesses just don't have the data volume, but inside their companies, but there are data insights outside that can feed small businesses and guide them, but they won't have sufficient volume typically inside. But 30% of the middle tier don't make their sales quotas. And B2B sales professionals' productivity is declining to less than 40% right now, facing real customers or prospects. Plus, over 30%, maybe even 40% of all of the trillions and billions in the economy, we're all chasing duds. And yet we wonder why we remove 25 to 30% of our sales employees every single year, and the cycle goes on and on. Well, we're now moving into an era where, with guided selling, we absolutely can release so much productivity. We just got to get on with it. Quit trying to question it. AI is just very reliable. The other thing is we've learned is because we've just finished analyzing over 2 years of Accenture's data set, and we had the privilege of doing some benchmarking with Intel, as you know earlier. We got to levels of over 95% predictive accuracy right at the start of an opportunity, and we then backtracked it over that period, and we could predict of those wins and losses, even blindfolded. Part of the challenge here is getting the learning into the market, not to question or challenge, just get on with it. So let's move on to the method question that you were asking. Well, I've learned a lot over the last, I'd say, 10 years in this industry. I think the first most important point is understanding that, yes, there is a new language, and yes, you need to learn some of the basics. So one important point is understanding predictive analytics, and what does that mean? First, it encompasses a variety of statistical techniques, from predictive modeling, leveraging machine learning, which is basically learning and recognizing trends in the data set, and obviously data mining that allow you to explore different scenarios, to analyze current and historical facts, to really make predictions about the future or otherwise unknown events that might occur. So, for example, in business, predictive models identify patterns found in historical and transactional data sets to identify risks and opportunities. That's why the banking industry is using many of these methods for fraudulent detection, anomalies in financial statements. AI can be very good at finding anomalies. Then you take it a step further. The important point is, what is the technology that's housing all of this infrastructure, and what's the quality of the predictive training engines? We've seen many market leaders, like some of the biggest in the world, even come out with, we're the best in class. Let's just take Einstein. It's regression analytics. Well, that's just one method. There are many, many deeper scientific methods to solve problems. We're going to have we really have to educate the boardroom that there's light AI and there's deep AI, and the devil's in the details. So if you don't have skilled AI knowledgeable experts, and it's not going to be in the IT shop, let me be perfectly clear. Most of the CIOs currently have never written a piece of code of AI. But the most exciting area, Malay, is the prescriptive analytics, which is the insights that guide you in real time, that constantly think of it as a sales GPS, just like Uber. Am I in the right direction? Oh, then move here, then do this, find that. And those kind of robotic, like if you want to call them approaches, rely on the prescriptive analytics and the insight areas. And that's the exciting part to architect. They're not rules-based. They're simply patterning recognitions, and they learn from the data sets. But how you connect the pieces is really the creative magic that we're enjoying, certainly here. So in practice, prescriptive analytics can continually and automatically process new data, improve the accuracy of predictions, and provide better decision options. This is where machine learning comes so beautifully into play. As new information patterns have significance, they improve the models in real time. It's like now having a 7x24 coaching solution that can help us. And that's what I'm excited about. I can, simply look at my smartwatch. I can find out where my child is. They've just stepped into their school bus. They will be arriving here in 3 minutes. My intelligent fridge immediately gets my little robot, brings out the glass of milk and cookies, and and everything's cool. Everything's organized. We're in perfect harmony. So I know we're a ways away from that, but the reality is, going back to the new oxygen, that's what AI is all about, Malay.
Well, thanks for that, Cindy. Truly, sky's the limit when it comes to our imagination. That is for sure, and that's also why it's so important for us to be responsible as we go about it. I remember I was at a recent meetup, and Rajiv Anand, the founder and CEO at Quartic.ai, called AI as the automation of cognition. And it's precisely because of that that the point you make about prescriptive analytics is so important, because it speaks to explainable AI explaining the rationale behind what it's doing. It's so important to see that so we can make contextual decisions. But then that is still on the surface. Now we have come even further away, and now we're talking about something called deep learnings. What would you say that is?
Well, I've really dug hard into this one, and what I've learned is that deep learning is a subset of machine learning in artificial intelligence that's based on networks which are capable of learning. They're unsupervised from data that's structured or unlabeled. So in the past, we used to create rules, and then we had to maintain those rules because AI, as I said to begin with, is not new. However, these unsupervised constant learning methods, constant networks, and constant, it's like electricity, then connecting, and then those kinds of constructs are very, very powerful. And again, not every solution is a deep learning solution, nor every problem is right for a deep learning methodology. So again, there are many, many diverse types of AI technologies, many different types of approaches and methods. It all goes back to what is the best problem that I am trying to solve. If I'm trying to solve cancer, right? In a perfect world, if I could put all of the data and all of the research into this huge global data lake, deep learning would be an incredible approach to solve one of the most horrific diseases that we all have lost loved ones in our life, right? Um, Deep learning can be extremely powerful if I take all of the customer history and transactional records for in a bank, and I want to basically upsell, cross-sell. I want to actually extend into wealth management to know, Malay, that you were at the point of a beautiful marriage coming up, knowing that at some point you'll, project you'll have a child, likely, or a house. And so the mortgage advisor starts to build a relationship 5 years ahead of the cycle. I mean, that's what these kinds of patterns, it's going to be a collection of data inside and outside organizations. And then deep learning methods are very powerful. But again, we must understand that deep learning approaches aren't necessarily for solving every problem.
And that is extremely important to understand. Just to put it simply and on a high level for those listening to us, uh, what would you say is artificial intelligence versus machine learning?
Yeah, you know what? Artificial intelligence is just simply the higher order domain. Machine learning is a subset, if you get into the taxonomy structure. And AI is the broader concepts of simply machines being able to carry out tasks in a way that we'd consider smart, human-like. Machine learning is simply a current application of AI, important point, based around the concept that we should really just be able to give machines access to data, let the machine learn for itself in an unsupervised learning method. And machine learning methods are the method under deep learning, just to be perfectly clear. So deep learning, is essentially applies multiple methods. Okay, it's not a singular method, and that's probably a very distinctive point. Um, so that would be my quick comments here. Is the language is all intertwined, simply.
All right. Well, that those are most helpful definitions to guide our audience. So, thank you, Cindy. Just to bring this towards a close, what would you say are the top recommendations on AI for business leaders?
Well, first and foremost, get started or simply die. I mean, I'm really sincere on this point. Like, stop questioning, start learning, don't wait. It's now proven, but old skills, old behaviors are holding back adoption rates. And like with any major transformational change, it's got to start from the top. Really, the boards need to have responsibility and accountability for actually helping, especially publicly traded companies, get going. And many board leaders are not educated on what AI is, let alone all the C-level executive suite. So we're going to have a lot of educational context there. I also think that we should never have any C-level executive in any publicly traded company worldwide now that doesn't have a strong foundation in technology innovation, because quite frankly, technology approaches are enveloping everything. Yes, you need business knowledge, but you better be able to know how to log in to your Salesforce applications. Use these tools and lead your organizations forward. I can't tell you, Malay, how many executives I meet that want smart, intelligent, predictive sales forecasting that don't even know how to frickin' log in. So this is nutso. So yeah, we need to get started. We need the right behaviors. Most other point I would say is get smart people who really know AI and are trained versus the wannabes. There's lots of snake oil peddlers coming into the market selling black box AI. So peel the onion back and do your due diligence to manage the risks and understand, as I said at the beginning, what problem you want to solve. Get clear first. Talk in simple business terms. What is the problem? Who is the customer? What is the value? What is the investment? What's the benefit? Should we do this or should we do something else? So standard business logic, still wins the day, always. And then you can bring in the process and then the technology and increasingly important, the change in communication methods that are always important. So people are brought along in any kind of journey. Um, I also reinforce that this is a board level sea change. It's not a CIO agenda items. Most often CIOs don't have any skills personally in AI. That's why we're starting to see the chief AI officer now go mainstream. I was so excited when I saw TD Bank's acquisition of Layer 6 and that they appointed the first AI officer in Canada. Like, wow, having a CIO, having a chief data scientist, and having a chief AI officer as peers. Whew, boy, is that a wake up for the banking industry. So TD gets it for sure, as AI will literally wrap every bank process and I know they're madly working on putting all the building blocks together, but lining up the messy people part's the hardest. And pulling together and knowing where all the skills are so that they can tap into different use cases. The reality is data is very telling and it speaks clearly. It is either statistically valid or not. Let's not forget that the data sciences skills on challenging the AI enthusiasm needs to be also balanced, right? Because if there's not a representative pattern and it's based on quality data, and actually can be proved out over a period of time, it doesn't matter.
True. I almost think I should start pursuing the data science career route as well,
Well,
Cindy.
you're already in it.
All right. So thank you for joining me today. That was so informative, and you presented clear perspectives on the rise of AI, gave some basic definitions, clarified how to get started, and provided some insights on the journey to become AI enabled for operational success. And I think one way we can look at AI is that AI is this new process layer or skin that in time will understand everything on the web. I don't mean it in a scary way, but it can know exactly what I want or you want and recommend the right thing at the precise moment that you need support. The future is indeed smarter with innovative technologies like AI and predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics. As the future embraces, let's say, facial recognition and deep learning AI methods, we will be able to determine the exact personality or AI heartbeat of the customer or employee by knowing their moods from their facial expressions. Now imagine that for a moment. In time, with brain cognitive science solutions integrated with humans, our future customer service answers will be driven increasingly by chatbots or humans programmed to provide advice from internal recommendation sources. We are certainly not there yet, but the future is unfolding at an unprecedented rate. So, to the audience, ask yourself, is your organization ready to embrace AI for advancing your organization's business goals? And more importantly, is it ready to do so in a responsible, secure manner? We need to have those conversations. If not, do send us your support needs to marketing at saleschoice.com. Our next podcast, by the way, will feature AI and impact on call centers. It will explore predictive churn featuring the CEO of S800, which is a leading call center survey company collecting billions of records on services, experiences, and recently it partnered with SalesChoice to prove value of predictive churn using AI. So think of simply the power of moving to the age of AI and trust. More AI educational content, of course, can be found by visiting our company website at www.saleschoice.com. Thank you so much for listening to us, and we will return with the next topic next month. So, see you at our next podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.